Perfect.
God
Thank you.
bless.
Thank you so much. Okay. Hello. What a privilege to be here with you. I just love you. Thank you. You know, I guess it's like if you go to a family reunion and you discover all these cousins you didn't know you had. You know, and I've been watching you. I've been sitting in the back watching you because, you know, if the one family on this side of the world is developing and then on the other side they get together and you don't know why you're the same, but you are. You know what I'm talking about? And so you're using the same language. And I'm going, oh my goodness, I love these people. Can you imagine what we would do if we got together? You know? So, but I've been listening, and I want to tell on myself a little bit. On the first night, the opening night, I was sitting there listening, and I heard Reverend Della, and she said, you know, and there are some things that we have to take care of. And you know, my mind, what's going on? Is your mind like that sometimes? My mind loves to get into the dirt. Because I'm among friends, I might as well just be honest. You know, and then I heard another speaker say, you know, and we are just holding up the leadership of this. I said, what's going on? Because I want to know what's going on. Because, you know, I have the belief if I know what's going on, I can be more helpful. You know, if I climb down in there, it's not helpful. I'm remembering the first time I went to a spiritual counselor of this persuasion, New Thought. I went to take to her an issue of a broken heart. And I was so happy to go and see her because I heard she was a very powerful spiritual healer. And I sat down and got ready to tell it all. And she said, wait, no, thank you. And I said, what, excuse me? I was getting ready to explain it all. And she said, no, because this is the part where you start to lie to me. She says, this is where you tell me your heart is broken, who did what, how it's unfair, what's going on, how it's going to work out. And frankly, I'm not interested. Because I don't want that to cloud my vision of who you are. And I thought to myself, but I have a story. And who would I be without that story? And she was calling me to that exact place. Who would you be without that extensive story about what is wrong? And so I always try to begin my presentations with some prayer. And so I realized I am better off not knowing what is going on. Isn't that wonderful? Because then I cannot be clouded by any of your opinions. Because I am sure my organization is exactly the same. I heard Reverend Mary say, mirror is what I'm looking at. So I can come to you as a cousin. We can begin today with another moment of prayer. Help me get settled in this conversation with you, and I can tell you about my history with your organization. Okay, will you join me then in a moment of prayer? And forgive me if I don't understand everything or if I pray in a different way, but my heart is in the same place. Yeah, all right. So this prayer then is not only for me and for you, but it is for your organization. Did you feel how the room moved? Oh, God bless us. Wonderful. So now please forget everything you know. So let us take a moment then in consciousness to acknowledge that there really is only one thing going on here all of the time. It is the presence of the Almighty God. Everywhere present all of the time, meaning never absent anywhere. All-powerful, meaning there is nothing ever to rise up to contradict it or conflict with it. This presence, the living God, the Spirit of our life, right now, embracing us, holding us, guiding us. And by means of this prayer, We are remembering together this is the truth and the foundation of our being and of our foundation. And so as we bring our mind and our heart to this offering of prayer, in innocence, undefended, and opened up in love, we are remembering together that our good depends on no person, on no place, on no economy, on no governance, but on that indwelling presence we call the Christ consciousness. It is our hope, it is our freedom, it is our guide, and it speaks to us of that which is never bound by conditions. And so we listen today, open, ready, guided, inspired. And in so doing, this presence of God within unfolds before us so many possibilities, limitless options, new ideas, freedom. And we come to our senses, letting the old fall away and the new present itself to us in a way that we see clearly and follow with open heart. And for this we are so grateful, so deeply grateful. We are realizing that our work in the world, our organizations together, the work of our organizations, well, it comes through no personal effort, but through the power and the might of that Holy Spirit within, whose great pleasure it is always to communicate its love. We are hearing this and becoming it, which is why we say together, and so it is. So I wanted to tell you that I have a little bit of a history with your president, and I want to mention it because I am so grateful for it. About 17 years ago in Santa Rosa, when I was brand new in the ministry, people just didn't know what a Santa Rosa was. You know, we couldn't get a guest to come. They would say, "Santa, where? Do you need a passport to go there? Is it in the United States?" You know. And we had heard, me and my assistant, we had heard that there was this great Bible teacher in some land down 800 miles to the south called Los Angeles, speaking there as a guest. And we had been taught to ask, and you will receive. And so we thought, let's test it. And we called and asked, would the Reverend Tompkins please come and speak in this place, Santa Rosa. And do you know, I think she even paid her own way. You know, and we were nobody and nowhere, and we had nothing. I'm too embarrassed to even tell you what our speaker fee was. And we had to put her up in a homestay in our bookstore manager's home. And she came where nobody else would come. And she came, and then she got on the stage, and she spoke. And you know how that is. That voice, you know, and I remember sitting in the audience, and I even remember what she said. Because she was talking about that teaching that the master teacher, Jesus, said in so many different ways about how it is that what we believe has something to do with our lives. You know, in various forms, it is done unto you as you believe. You know that one? And she said, she called it the horse pill of metaphysics because it's hard to swallow. It's the one we don't want. Oh, and I sat there and I just watched, and I knew I wanted to be her. Do you know what I'm talking about? Because she was planting in me the seed of possibility. You see, that's role model. Now, of course, the problem when a person takes a role model from the allegory, let me take the seed of greatness, into literal, you run into problems because I cannot be her. Have you noticed there are a few subtle differences? I'm not sure what they are. But to take the seed of the greatness and let that develop in us is the way to let role models change us. And that's exactly what I wanted to talk about, is how we can take the deep messages of the role models in our culture and let them move us. I want to just first talk about a mental model. It's a type of role model, a mental model. A mental model is the thing that you took into your being and it becomes normal for you. You're normal. It's the thing that you never question anymore. You take it so literally that it just becomes who you are. You know when your mental model is being questioned when you start to get nervous. I'll give you an example of what happens when mental models collide. In Santa Rosa, we wanted to start a law enforcement chaplaincy to bring pastors together with the law enforcement officers. At our first meeting, we realized there were two worlds about to collide. We had to learn to speak each other's language, and we started to feel very, very uncomfortable. And since that time, I have been exploring other mental models that are affecting me. What have I accepted as normal, and how is it affecting the way I lead and the way I follow? So the best place to begin searching is in the faith community, because we are people of faith, and to look at what are the role models that I've taken on and how are they affecting me. And the number one role model, I believe, that is effective in the faith traditions that we are part of and of many other faith traditions, is the pastoral model. I have a slide for that one. The pastoral model is based on a strong idea that was introduced and was referenced so beautifully in the prayer. In the Old Testament, it was introduced to us as the Lord being our shepherd. And, you know, as an allegory, so beautiful. I remember growing up with it. Oh, you know, in times of trouble, this is where I go. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures, and and what does he do with my soul? In fact, when I grew up, we had this beautiful image, and I'll show this to you now, that I grew up with. I grew up as a Catholic originally, and so these images were everywhere. And for me, you know, I would look at it and I would get the allegory. The teaching of the master teacher is what will keep me from going astray. Now, if I take the allegory literally, I run into trouble. If I start to lead or follow like the picture, now I've got a problem. See, that's where the wisdom of the allegorical translation of the Bible comes in. Now, the literal part, we've got a problem. Because if you look at this picture, there's clearly something wrong with it. When we talk about you and me leading each other, there is one central image, head and shoulders above the rest. You might even say, at the top of the food chain. See, I mean it with respect. When we take it out of the allegory, and then I try to duplicate my life, now I've no longer taken the seed of wisdom into me. I'm basing it on a picture. Oh dear.